Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys subscribe and like this video. I also want to let you guys know this little reminder, if you want to join my book club, the link is always down below. Today we're going to be talking about your guys' Bookish hot takes. I asked you on my Instagram to send in some of your hot takes and you guys did. So I'm going to be sharing them and then also giving a little bit of my opinion, my little bit of thought on your guys' Bookish hot takes. Let's get into it. I don't let others borrow my books because I'm so particular about them. I understand, like, if you're my friend and you're like, oh, I don't want to let anybody borrow my book, I would totally understand. I feel like I would let somebody borrow my book, and I don't know if this is petty, but I would definitely be like, yeah, you can borrow this book, like, just please bring it back in good condition. Or like, if I don't crack my spines, like, oh yeah, you can totally borrow the book, but I don't crack my spines. Do you crack the spines of your book? So I just want to make sure, you know, it's returned in its original condition. And I feel like at that point, it might just be better to not even let anybody borrow your book, because then I feel like the reader, the person who's borrowing it, might be kind of like feel like they're on eggshells. So I get you. Don't even let anybody borrow. It's like, it's better for both of us. It's better for our relationship or friendship if we just don't share books. But I have told one of my close friends that if she ever wants to borrow any books on my shelf, she totally can. But I also know she would be respectful and she would return it back in proper condition. And if something happened to the book, she would like offer to replace it. So I'm like, for certain people, totally come snatch a book off my shelf. I don't care. A woman only experience from a woman's POV written by a man disgusts me. That's crazy. But then now that I think about it, actually I don't read very many male authors now that I think about it, but one that I am thinking about is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. The female main character is obviously, the main character is obviously a woman. She does talk about like motherhood, pregnancy, but I felt like he did a very phenomenal job at describing the feelings a woman feels towards her baby, towards her children. So I get where you're coming from, but I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like that is a hot take, and I feel like that is pretty controversial. Because I wonder, okay, let me do further investigation on if Matt Haig is married. He is. And you know how that makes me feel about him though? That makes me feel like the only way he could write so well about a female main character is if he is in tune with his wife and listens to her and her experiences. So I feel like I'm okay with that. I feel like I support that. I support that. And I love that book. It was 5 stars to me. So that's interesting. I wonder, as I continue my reading journey, if I read another book by a man that is like, has a strong female main character, how they write about a woman's experiences. That's interesting. Some books need trigger warnings. Yeah, but I think that most books do at this point. I think that there are some books that were published earlier, like even 2015, 2016, some books don't have trigger warnings. But I think that now in 2024, most books do at this point. But I do agree that there should be a page that just has like some trigger warnings listed out for people who are sensitive. But I don't think that trigger warnings need to be on the front cover of a book. That's my hot take. If the book ain't cute, I ain't buying it. Honestly, I feel that. Although I do feel like most book covers, like, I don't really care how cute they are, but I also feel like most book covers are really cute already. I do understand if you're not trying to build an at-home library, I agree with you. I would not be buying books that I don't think are cute because, well, you don't need to be here in my space. Physical books are greater than Kindles. That's crazy. I actually feel like, first of all, totally valid if you feel that way. Like, that literally does no damage to me. It does not hurt me at all. Like, you stick by your truth, sister. For me, I feel like physical books and Kindle books are like equal for me. I love reading on my Kindle so much. I feel like I read so much faster. I can take my Kindle anywhere and I don't ruin my physical copies of my books by having them at the pool, having them at soccer practice, having them at a restaurant. A Kindle's just so much easier and it fits in like a crossbody bag. I love it so much. Like, I really feel like if you struggle reading a lot, you need a Kindle because it will help you so much. But then also physical books are just cozy and they smell good. And when you buy physical books, you also get to go into bookstores and shop that way and have signed editions and special, and it just, you know, it's a whole rabbit hole. So I really feel like they're equal for me, but that's totally valid. if you think that Kindle books are, or no, if you think that physical books are better than Kindle books. Okay, another one, reading on a Kindle or iPad is not as good as the physical copy. I do not agree with that. I don't agree with that, because I read Fourth Wing on my Kindle, you guys. Yeah, and I love that book. That was a 5-star book for me. Like, I freaked out about it at the time. So I can't agree. I cannot agree with that one. Having the time / capacity to read is a privilege. 100% agree with that. 100%. I do agree with that. Then on the other end, I think that people who say that they don't have time for anything, or most people who say they don't have time to read or for any hobby, I would love to see their screen time. I would love to see what they are spending their time doing, because I do feel like most people have an hour plus to read or to participate in a hobby, and then they point the finger at people that do have time to do it, and they're like, well, you're just privileged and you're just this and you're just that. But really, they also have the time to do it. They just don't want to talk about it. I don't know. Reading as many books as possible in a month is not enjoyable. I actually agree with this, because I am currently filming a video where I'm trying to catch up to my reading goal. And this is going to be something I talk about in the video, where the weeks that I've been really focused on trying to catch up and like read as many books as possible, get through as many pages as possible, I am like miserable doing it. So I actually do agree with this one, at least for me. I do think it varies depending on, I guess, maybe your personality or whatever, but I hecka agree with that one. It has been, those weeks have been so terrible for me and kind of put me in a little bit of a slump, and then I kind of am like, it's not enjoyable. So I actually agree with that one. Okay, this is funny. Most authors' social media is cringy and ruins their work for me. Honestly, I do agree with that. I really do. I actually don't even like to look up authors that I read. I don't like to follow them. I don't like to see what they're doing. I don't like to see their TikToks and stuff, because I don't know. It just takes me out of the story. It's the same thing with looking up, like, okay, I'm watching Grey's Anatomy. I do not want to see Ellen Pompeo with her husband. I don't want to see that. Like, that ruins it for me. I don't want to see her social media. I don't want to see all her interviews and stuff like that. It just ruins the original piece of art for me. So I do kind of feel bad for saying that, but I actually do agree that I do think it's a little bit cringy, and it kind of ruins the story that I've built in my head. Even on the back, I hate when they put like the pictures of the author like huge on the back. I don't want to know whose work I'm reading, because I have these characters in my head, and then I feel like as I'm reading the book, I'm just picturing them writing the story, and that just takes me out of it. Soft covers are greater than hard covers. I have to agree with this one. Now, I do love a hardcover for some of my books. Like, I think that it preserves them really well. I think that they are most likely going to last longer because of the hardcover. And I also we talked about this in our crafty Zoom call that we do through the book club. But when you're an author and your books get published by hardcover, that is like a huge deal in the publishing industry. Having your book be published in hardcover, it's like, wow. That's why a lot of indie covers are all soft cover, because hardcover is preserved for like books that are basically gonna do really well and make the return. So although I don't love purchasing hardcovers just because they take up so much space, they're not as comfy to read in different positions and they're heavier. I am really proud of the authors that have hardcovers, because it's a difficult feat to prove that this story that you've poured your like life into, your heart into, your time into, and then for publishers and people to read it and be like, this story is really good, we believe in you, we're gonna like put our money behind you. That's a huge accomplishment. So yes, but I'm also like, the author in me is like, I love a hardcover just because of everything that it represents for the author. Spice doesn't make a book any better. Yeah, I think I agree with this one. I think a lot of times for me, the spice cheapens the story and doesn't add anything to it, because some of my favorite books have no spice in them, and they have the most depth and the most like meaning behind it. And that's the kind of reader I am. That's what I like so much. So I have to agree with this one. It doesn't really make it any better. It honestly kind of cheapens it for me and just makes me feel like, I didn't need that scene. I had 2 people say Sarah J Maas is not that great. Sarah J Maas ain't it. That's interesting. I feel like I really need to read Throne of Glass. If you guys can see it, I have the hardcover set back there. I feel like I need to read that before I make my official feelings about Sarah J Maas solid. But ACOTAR for me was not it. Like, I never think about that story. I don't care about it. People's obsession with it, I literally do not get it. I don't get it at all. At all. I think the first book was maybe my favorite, and then all the books after that, I was just like, okay, I don't know. I expected it to be so much more, but I can't wait to read Throne of Glass to continue and see. But I respect your opinion. That's kind of also how I feel about Emily Henry. The books I've read from her so far, I'm just kind of like, I don't really get it. I don't get it. But I'm gonna continue reading her books just to give her more chances. There might be a book that I really, really love from her, but so far I'm just like, huh? Okay, if this counts, but the movie It Ends With Us was terrible. I read the book first and was really disappointed by the movie. Would not watch again. Okay, that's interesting because I really like the movie and I really like the book. That's really interesting. This is, I think, a bigger conversation of like, why did you not like it or why were you so disappointed by it? I do think a lot of people, suddenly the movie came out and everyone is a freaking movie critic. And I think sometimes it's okay to just enjoy things for what they are without nitpicking other people's work, the script, the outfits, the acting or whatever. Like, I think sometimes we can just enjoy something for what it was and appreciate the entertainment and move on. Like, I don't think everything has to be a think piece. I don't think everything has to be torn apart to shreds and dissected a million different ways. But that's just my opinion. I'd have to know more about why you were disappointed or why you didn't like it. I personally love the book, would read it again. I've already read it twice and really like the movie. When it's on streaming platforms, I'll probably watch it again. Like, I thought it was good. But again, I'm not a movie critic. I'm not really hard to impress when it comes to shows and movies. I'm just like happy that people are getting their story out. I know that Colleen Hoover has her own experience with DV, so I'm just happy for her. I'm just proud that she was able to get her story out there, and it's already affected so many women, that movie. So many women have said that they are now and already have left their abusive spouse after watching that movie. So I'm not here to bash. I'm not here to tear down every single little thing people do. I think that sometimes we could just be happy for people and appreciate the work that's been done, the strides that are happening with social media, with movies that are coming out, and the lives that are being changed through these movies and through these books. I support it. If the book isn't interesting after 100 pages, I'm not finishing it. I respect this so much because I have a 100-page rule, and I always tell the girls in the book club this too, like, do not DNF a book before 100 pages because I will legitimately be mad at you. Do not. I don't want to, if you're at page 5 and you're like, I'm DNFing it, no, jail immediately. I do think that we need to make it at least to page 100 because I feel like for most books, after page 100, the world is built out, the characters are developed, and then you're starting to get into the first problem that they're coming across, and that's when it starts to get interesting. Unfortunately, with books, you know, we do have to put in an hour or so to get to the juice of the story. So I respect this. At least 100 pages. Thank you so much. Super erotic romances are no different than porn. I agree. More of a conspiracy, but I do not believe that Colleen wrote Verity. That is so funny. I actually need to reread Verity because when I first read it in 2021, I loved it so much. But I am interested to see if I read it again how I felt about it. But after rereading It Ends With Us and still rating it 4 stars, I have a feeling I'm actually gonna like Verity a lot. And maybe even more than I did the first time. But that's interesting that is your conspiracy theory. Because I also read Too Late by Colleen Hoover, and I think that is the worst book I've ever read. And I'm like, how can she has so much range when it comes to like books I absolutely am like, I really like this book. And then books that I'm like, holy moly, no, I cannot stand this book. I don't even want to look at it. Speed reading is pointless because you can't really absorb / enjoy it. Okay, this is interesting. I think on one end, I am like, I literally do not care if someone is a speed reader. Like, I don't care. How somebody decides to read a book just has no effect on me. I just don't care. On the other end, I'm like, I wonder, for speed readers, are you actually enjoying the story? Are you actually like absorbing it to the fullest ability, or is that not the goal? I don't know for speed readers if the goal is to fully absorb and fully be entertained and enjoy the story. I would have to know the MO. Like, what's the point of speed reading? Like, literally, what is the point? Because I feel like with the movies, shows, books that I read, watch, listen to, etc., I want to like feel absorbed by the story, and I want to feel like I'm living in the story. I want to know the characters. I want to know everything going on. I want to know all of the little details that the author is sprinkling in. So I feel like, yeah, with speed reading, I personally would not be able to be fully immersed in the story or really enjoy it. I feel like it would give me anxiety because I would just have like this nagging thing in my head, like hurry up and finish it, hurry up and finish it, hurry up and finish it. And then I'm not enjoying the story at all. That's interesting. I'm interested to know if you have ever tried speed reading and that's how you came to that conclusion or what. And I also, if you're a speed reader, I would love to know your MO. Like, is it just because you just want to get through books, you don't care about enjoying it? Or are you like just a fast reader and you are able to be immersed in the story and enjoy it and love it? But then I also wonder, are people who read read books at the average pace, enjoying it more than a speed reader is? I don't know. I would love to know. Because I do think when it comes to like self-help books, I do typically speed read because for self-help books, about 75% of the book typically is fluff, and then about 15% are the actual like nuggets that you want to take from the story. So typically for self-help, I will speed read because let's wrap it up. Okay, a romance that is all spice shouldn't be in the romance genre. It should be called lust. Okay. Book covers with pictures of real people make me not want to read them. That's valid. That's valid. I do feel like I'm seeing less and less covers in actual bookstores with real people though, which I am happy about because I don't like, because I feel like typically they do that with romance and it's always like a shirtless guy. And it's like, did we really need that? No. Like, I'm 27 years old. I'm a mother and a wife. I don't need that on my cover because it does paint this picture of like I'm reading a super lusty book when it's actually not. You know, like Long Shot, the original cover is like literally a shirtless white guy. And I'm like, this just is painting the wrong picture that I'm reading this like super lusty book and I'm not. So why are we doing this to me? I'm so glad that they redid the covers for those because it just was not, it wasn't an accurate portrayal. I like to dog ear the pages that I absolutely love rather than tabbing them. I love that. Love that. I actually don't like tabbing that much either because I don't like that it sticks out of the book, but I need to tab it so that I can actually see my underlines. So maybe I might start dog earing, but I think that might hurt my soul a little bit, so maybe not. But I love that for you. Smut is actually cringe. I say this all the time. All I can do is picture the author in their sweatpants, no makeup, hair in a bun, like chocolate all down their shirt, eating snacks and like writing this smutty scene, and it just cringes me out so badly. I just can't help but picture the author like typing away, writing the scene. Like it just icks me and it cringes me so bad. So I agree with that one. People get so offended, but I firmly believe audiobooks are not reading, and there were so many people saying this, and I just want to tell all of you guys that you're wrong. I love you so much, but I just don't agree with that one. I just don't. Obviously, by definition, listening and seeing words on a page are two different things. And I think that our brain does respond to them and like intake them differently. But if somebody is telling me, oh yeah, I read 30 books this year, I'm not gonna be like, well, which ones of those did you listen to? Because you know that's not actually reading. You know what I mean? I think as far as reading goals, or I wanted to read 2 books this month and I listened to one and read a paper copy of one, I think that counts as you met your reading goal. You know what I mean? Even on Goodreads, you can mark that you're currently reading the audiobook, and you can mark as read the audiobook. So yeah, I just don't agree. I think that it 100% counts towards a reading goal. And whether you are reading words on a page or listening to a story, if I'm talking to somebody about that book, we both know what happened in the book, and I would never know that you just listened to it and didn't read it. So what does it matter to me? I literally don't care. Only way I care is if people are like, audiobooks are not reading, that didn't count, you didn't actually read that many books this year. Like, yeah, they did. They know the story, and that's what matters at the end of the day. And I'm also in full support of people getting off brain rot TikTok all day and actually listening to a story, reading a book, so that we can have like actual discourse over something different than what is just like happening on the internet all the time. Somebody also said that people who believe audiobooks are not reading are ableist. And I have to say, I do agree with that statement. I think people who are blind, people who are dyslexic, ADHD, whatever, for whatever reason, cannot read or cannot focus long enough to be able to read pages on a book or need to be doing something as they listen to a story, I think that why exclude them from being able to say that they are readers if they are intaking the story and understanding the story? And that's what matters at the end of the day. We don't tell people, oh, if you read a book in 4 hours, you're better than people who read the same book in 6 hours. Like, there's no need to get, I don't think, into the nitty-gritty of how somebody intakes a story. Now, if we're talking definition, obviously, like, let's not be dense. Reading and listening are two different things. But when it comes to the story aspect, it literally doesn't matter. And I would never be caught telling somebody that because they listened to a book that they didn't actually, it doesn't actually count. That's crazy. It also makes me feel like all the people that are saying that audiobooks aren't reading, they think that they're better than people who listen to audiobooks and count that as reading. Why do you think that you are morally superior to other people because you read words on a page versus somebody who listened to the story while they were taking care of their kids or doing laundry or wiping off the counters or cleaning a bathroom, etc.? That, I don't know, I think that is kind of strange behavior and just kind of a strange way to look at it. Some people are saying like it's listening to a book is the same thing as a TV show or a movie, but it's not, because the script for a TV show movie is completely different. For the movie adaptations, show adaptations that we're seeing, they have a completely different script for that. They don't just read the book in the movie for the script, you know what I mean? So they are two completely different things. Also with an audiobook, you're not watching any visuals with it. You are intaking the story and creating characters in your mind and creating the setting in your mind the same way you do when you read words on a page. So I don't know, for all the people that said that, I would love to hear kind of more about why you think that way and if you're open to changing your opinion, because I think it is giving ableist, and I think that we need to be careful about seeing ourselves as better than people that listen to audiobooks for whatever reason, because you never know why. Okay, last one. There's so many more, but like we are just gonna have to like end it here. Some people just like buying books more than actually reading them. Okay, I don't know. I think it's hard to assume someone's intentions behind buying books, because when we bought this house, my intention was always to build the built-ins that we have and then fill them with books. And obviously I wanted to fill the books so that the house would feel complete and decorated, although I have not come even close. I maybe read like 3 full shelves of books out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shelves or something that we have, or 8 shelves. I've read maybe 3 shelves worth of books, but I do think that book buying is like a separate hobby from reading, just because when you are at a bookstore, that is a whole experience in and of itself, like getting a little coffee, getting a little croissant, going through the aisles. Like, it's so relaxing, it's so grounding that, I mean, I get it, you know, I get it why we buy more books than we're realistically reading, a lot of us. But no judgment, I really don't care. I'm not counting nobody's pockets. You do you with your money. I'm gonna do me with mine. And that's okay. If you have a ton of books on your shelves that you haven't read yet, I do too. Does not mean I don't love reading. I spend a lot of my time every day reading, and I have books to my ears. Like, it's crazy. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. I hope nobody got mad or anything, but I obviously would love to hear your guys' opinions in the comments, and let me know if I should do a part 2. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next one.